Well, I'll kick it off. So my name's Jonathan. So I obviously lead the Dynamics team here at Eurobase. I wonder if you want to kick off with a sort of short introduction to yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, my name is the first thing I always answer when I ask about my name is it is real. So this is right. So Fortunato is my name.
Yeah,
People you call me Fortu because by the first 50% of my name I already know that I am the guy that they are speaking because this name is not quite often found, especially not in Italy
yeah, yeah.
where at least my parents come from. I was born in Germany, started as developer on the banking sector, and yeah, then switched over to social services,
hmm
accompanied there some software development for about 10 years,
Yeah,
and then later thought it would be good to have more contact with people, do works on projects and such, and there I switched over to consulting companies. Yeah, now I'm at CGI.
perfect. And what was it that kind of led you to go down that route, go down that career?
It's a mixed bag, so to speak, right? So I started originally and wanted to be a software developer, but soon came to know that I wanted to switch over, have more contact to people, and also I needed some change in my life, honestly.
Okay,
And then I switched over, and yeah, via contacts that I had and such, then I had the possibility to to get into the consulting. So to get some
nice.
ideas about consulting and such, and then later switch to my final company, so to say.
Yeah,
And this was, yeah,
nice.
basically this was my way of life. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
nice.
really nice.
Perfect. And how did you start your career as a developer? Was it just, education and then you found yourself a role, or was it, worked your way up
Yeah.
through companies?
So basically, the benefit that I had was that I had a software developer background. So this
Okay.
made my life a bit easier because it was not because I needed the software developing part that much, but the thinking, the way
Mm,
how to analyze problems, to go through those things, and basically made my life easier to get into the business applications. It is
yeah,
not needed, but it makes life easier, right? Like I don't know, having a steering wheel in the car. As long as you drive always straight forward, all good. But if you need to take the curve, so it would be nice to have a steering wheel.
yeah,
And if you have some hard code, I would say literally hard coded values in your life, things is much
yeah, yeah.
easier. But that's it.
Perfect. And I know you said you obviously lived in Germany forever, but what's your experience with the German market? How do you find it? And how do you think it's changed maybe from when you started to where you are now?
Whoa. Okay.
Big question.
Yeah, it is because there are some changes ongoing in Germany, technically. Germany is really a well-organized country,
Yeah,
despite the fact that in some areas it only seems so. But mainly it's bureaucracy is a beloved topic here. So
yeah, yeah.
basically, and for every process there are 10 papers, so to speak.
Mm,
But also it's changing now because basically they have understood here that you need to close the gap between you and other countries that are technologically the digitalization much more forward than Germany is, honestly.
yeah, yeah,
And here we are now getting more and more open-minded towards those things. But on the other side, and given the history that Germany has, we also have a strong emphasis on data protection
yeah,
because you can basically never trust the government. And so this is how, and we have proof in the current political situation that it's always good to not have big storage of information at some local area. So it made sense to put an eye on it. However, you cannot sacrifice this if you want to move forward.
mm,
You do need some, how do I say it? You need to accept some things that is
yeah, yeah,
the way it is, and people are willing to do this and to move forward. So I'm seeing some tendency to put more into digitalization, more into cloud,
yeah,
especially. And I think that AI also has how do I say, um, moved a lot forwards in this
Yeah,
thinking.
massively. Yeah, it dominates all the headlines, doesn't it, within the world of tech, and
Yes,
my
really,
LinkedIn
really at the
feed is
moment.
just AI products and new things being released and stuff. So yeah, huge
Yeah,
topic right now.
basically
Um,
all the time. Yeah. So
yeah, absolutely. And in terms of like obviously the hiring within that landscape, within Germany, and whenever you've had experience with it, how would you describe the current landscape for hiring, particularly within like the dynamics world?
difficult. I would say it's
Hmm.
at the moment very difficult to get skilled people.
Yeah,
Because either they are already somewhat already in another company, so to say,
yeah, 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 yeah,
or they aren't there. That's the reality. So,
yeah, yeah,
and so it's difficult to find, but this is a general problem that we are having here currently on the German market, which for the employees is good, for the employers not that much. So
yeah, absolutely.
that,
Yeah, I think
that, that's
we definitely
that's
have that
that's
same feeling as well from like what we obviously do. Like this is why we're here, because if it was
yeah,
really easy to find people, then there'd be no use using recruiters. So yeah, definitely feel
exactly.
that as well from that side.
And also you also need people that need to how do I say, the demands are also changing a lot.
Yeah,
So in the past you had Dynamics, CRM, and that's it. But now we have highly specific parts getting bigger and bigger on their own, like but not limited to sales and customer service. There are different apps. They are, I would say, getting larger and larger, getting more and more functionalities. Then the marketing topic is the customer journey, insights journeys is another topic on its own. Marketing automation, Power Pages is getting bigger and bigger,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and such. So you also need to look more specifically
mm,
than in the past. So you need more experienced guys on the business application, but also with some experience on certain areas.
yeah, yeah,
So the demand is getting more specific, and yeah, there's a
yeah, yeah.
shortage on people.
Makes sense. And what I think you obviously mentioned, like some of the challenges being a skill shortage, and like you said, dynamics is getting bigger.
Yeah.
Like you said, you need to find maybe people with more specific experience. Are there any other challenges you found, or sort of common, areas which you struggle with?
I think that people need to understand basically when, especially when it comes to consulting in specific.
Hmm.
You also need to be always open-minded in the sense that the development um, changes quite often. Things are moving. So what you have perhaps solved in the past via plugins is now solved via low-code approaches, like, for example, Power Automate. And
Yeah,
so you need to constantly move forward. Otherwise, you try to solve to think. If you always think like a hammer, every solution to everything is the hammer, and you think that everything is a nail, which is basically not the truth. So
yeah,
sometimes you need to stick to this or to that, and you need to be flexible, and you need always to be ahead of everyone else, because this is what people want to have from a consultant, the knowledge. And so you need always to be at the very edge of everything and to constantly learn every day. It never stops. And to hunt for the next big knowledge all the time. And this is where you need to be. But it's not limited to understand business application. You also need to constantly learn.
yeah,
So and move forward all the time. It never finishes. So that's the point.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah,
basically
it
the
makes
answer.
sense, especially in the world of tech. Like it's always moving forward so quick. So, and I think you kind of answered it already, but have you noticed like a shift in what skills people look for now?
I think that it's moving towards two steps, two things in general. It started with more towards going toward
Hmm.
low code development. No code is definitely not no code, but at
Yep.
least you need to um, move around or have an idea how to solve things again quickly, very fast.
Yep.
And this is more accelerated by AI now. You need to understand the different ways how to implement AI in your topic. It's not, you also need to think in a different way. The way of thinking changes because you are not thinking about a piece of software like AI and saying, this is AI.
Yeah, yeah,
Congratulations. So you basically need to know how can I enrich the application via AI use cases and such. And this is a very important topic, and this is a different way of thinking. So
mm,
this is another topic. Also, it's always good to always keep in mind that not every customer goes directly into the cloud. So it's always good to also think about on-premise solutions.
yeah, yeah,
It's
definitely.
still demanded, right? Because of high
Yeah,
security situations or environments, basically. Yes.
yeah, absolutely. And we've actually seen ourselves like a bit of a demand for on-premise in
Yeah.
particular within like the
Yeah.
world of Microsoft. Working with people who actually specifically are looking for people to be on site 50% of the time now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a demand for that still. And you obviously mentioned AI, like it's a huge topic. How do you think it's going to affect? Obviously, Microsoft's investing into this massively. How do you think it might affect the Dynamics world?
It already is affecting the Dynamics world because
Hmm.
you basically find it everywhere, at every corner.
Yeah, yeah,
So you find it, for example, in the Outlook plugin. You find in the Outlook connection where you basically can get a summary um, of your mail and answer via AI and such things. On the other side, you are getting summaries of opportunities and such and via AI. Those are the little things that you already see. When
yeah,
you then enrich this by forecasting elements and such, this is getting a very interesting topic because we are moving away from ask me something and I provide you perhaps an answer and hopefully it's the right one. You're moving towards closed use cases where you are getting a real benefit out of it. The more people are finding this out, the more value this topic is getting and the more recognition it gets. So Microsoft went ahead by saying, this is AI, congratulations, and has performed the right choice to basically say, how can we fix AI into use cases
yeah,
that generate a real benefit, creating summaries. This is a very good strategy because people do not connect AI with something abstract, but with something that they use every time. Because
hmm,
honestly, it already existed in the past. We all had Siri, we had
yeah, yeah,
Alexa and such things, and we called it AI, quote unquote. But now we are moving towards real, more use cases, more connected knowledge, getting more
yeah,
and more benefit. That's honestly quite good and impressive, and I think that that's something that will get more and more, yeah, importance in our,
yeah. Good.
yeah,
And it's good to hear that. I think, like you said, they're using it properly rather than just doing it for the sake of it. Because obviously, like as we said, it's a bit of a trend, and people can just slap AI on anything. But it's good to hear that they're doing it properly, which is always great. And
it's also
obviously
getting
talking about like, the
competition.
hiring landscape and dynamics, obviously, and how
Mhm.
that's changing with the skills and what would be needed in the future. Have you ever had experience? Well, you obviously, you've definitely had experience in the past when you've actually been on the other side of it. So when you've been looking for roles, when you've been trying to find your own positions, um, what experiences have you had with that? Like, have you found any frustrations with that when you were trying to find work? Do you think people maybe have some common, perhaps trouble when they come to finding work in Germany?
Um, for me, it was quite, I have to admit, for me, it was quite easy because
Hmm.
having a development background makes your life much easier
Yeah,
in this area. And also the language. Germany is a very language sensitive country. So
yeah,
where
yeah,
you basically have high benefits if you speak German fluently in a way that it makes actually that you can be understood and understand the people. Also, they speak English, but German is still preferred as a language, and that's
yeah.
the truth here. So for me, it was quite easy. Um, but sometimes there were, but this is always the truth, some differences when it came to payment. So
Yeah,
the salary is a topic on its own. There are how do I say? In the past, there were some differences between the reality and what they wanted to pay, but this is changing or changed already by quite a lot, and so this is also because of the shortage, basically
mm,
that the prices are rising. but on the other side, because of the situation that we are having now in Germany with the economy, also on the other side, there are the demand is getting more and more specific, and the bar is getting higher and higher.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
massively.
Higher. So there are more skills needed and such beside the language, and yeah. So I think this is something that may be frustrating. That it's not only, hey, look, you have heard something about CRM and that's good. You need to invest more and have more, also more willingness in getting more certifications and such. This is also something that I've noted, that certificates are very important.
Yes,
And
definitely in
so
my
you
respect.
need to, they are money basically, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah, makes sense.
And so you need to invest in yourself to sell yourself better. That's the reality to
Definitely.
offer you.
And would you say, like I said, some of the challenges that you face, is there any parts of the hiring process from either your side or if you were looking for work, which you actually think are maybe outdated or don't serve well? And that might be whether it technical challenges, all these different things we have now.
Yeah, I'm basically sitting on the other side,
Yeah,
therefore I know how the situation is. Um, and how do I say it? I think that most of the things that are outdated today comes from regulatory German regulatory areas, where basically they say you need to do this whole paperwork stuff in addition.
yeah, yeah.
And this is not because we like it, but because we are enforced to by law to do it this way.
Mhm.
This is something this is very old. It changed quite a lot. In the past, for example, it used to be the way that you needed to drive, to fly, to whatever, to the location,
Yep.
present yourself, have one talk, two talks, three talks, and that's it, and always in persona. This is moving more and more towards going remote and to do it there. And then
Yeah.
we can meet later, right? But at least to have the first touch point. Everyone saves time, stress, everyone is relaxed. This is good, the right atmosphere. This is good. But the whole paperwork stuff is tedious. I hate.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand why it is this, how it is. And I hope that the German government will move forward regarding this topic. But this is by law this way. And
Yeah, yeah. It's quite slow, isn't it? It's quite lengthy, I think, and it can always.
yeah, it is.
I,
You can there on some areas it's faster and some things can be done
mm,
digitally, but on you always need some kind of
the paper signature
yeah,
still, isn't it? It kind of, I think we obviously experience like it. You have all the excitement of a hiring process, of an offer,
yeah,
going through everything, and then the paperwork can sometimes, like you say, take weeks, and it almost takes like the excitement out
yeah.
sometimes because you're just waiting on documents and, as you said, pages and pages of things to sign. So yeah, that makes sense. And you also mentioned like a lot of hiring now has moved to like a digital way, which is great. So Teams calls and video interviews and all the software we've got access to. Do you think that's actually made hiring easier, or do you think
Yeah.
actually that we maybe miss that face-to-face contact?
No, I think it makes, but the problem is, I'm the person that likes the remote or the home office topic.
Yeah,
So it's a bit difficult to be how do I say to be very open or objective here. I try my very best. So to
yeah,
speak,
yeah,
um, it I think that it definitely made life easier, honestly,
yeah.
because you have the possibility to finish your topic, to prepare yourself, to close the things, and then to move forward, to have this topic, and then you can close and do, and therefore you don't need to block yourself half a day or one a day. You can do
Mhm.
this and be prepared and such, and then close, and that's it, and that's all. On the other side, I think that it makes sense sooner or later to meet in persona, to do the handshake and such, because
Yeah, definitely.
there are things that in the communication, remote communication, are missing. Like how does the person behave in such situation? Because especially when it comes to consulting, the commitment of showing there yourself and saying, "Hey, look, I'm this person. I'm willing to take time for you and to be there for you." I think this is a very important signal, a very important topic,
Definitely.
and this is how I strongly believe in it, that nothing can replace the real contact. But on the other side, there may be situations, and often this is the case, where you don't need to be there. So, and this is reflected by the hiring process. I think that for me, it, every person is different. For me, it doesn't matter if I meet the person remotely or not.
Yeah,
But sooner or later, I want the real deal, so to say, and have
yeah,
direct
yeah,
contact.
yeah. I think, like you said, in an ideal world, all those first interviews and meetings, like you said, it's so much more practical for people to be able
Yeah.
to take an hour out of their day, jump on a few calls, and then, like I said, when it gets more serious, and as you said, like, it's always great to get that
Yes.
face to face then, and that's like you said, you can still learn a lot
Is
from
it just
that.
exactly
Yeah,
as a first touch point that makes sense to do it remotely, and then if you get serious, and this is perhaps only a small fraction of the people that are presenting to you, then it makes sense to also for yourself blocking your time for those people at one specific day.
yeah,
So
makes
that's it.
sense. And then coming on to that, obviously, like you think you already mentioned salary, as you said in Germany, like they're definitely increasing. Um, how do you feel like salary and negotiation benefits? I suppose first question is, when do you think that should happen? Do you think that's something that starts at the beginning of the process? Do you think that you do it throughout or towards the end?
I think that the salary is a very strong foundation for for um, for working together for the base for the relationship. It's part of it. It's not the only topic, but it's an important topic. Most of the
Yeah,
people are not living for the work, but working for life, basically, and so
yeah,
they
yeah,
try to find out how can I the work-life balance, how can I mix this up? And this is the more important topic. So this is one of the questions that I, on the other side, ask very soon. What
yeah,
is your imagination about your salary? Because I think that's okay. And then people always are a bit shy to tell a number because they say, "Can I
yeah,
do this?" But it's also a question of the culture, honestly. This is a very interesting topic. So in some areas, depending on where the people come from, this is my experience so far, they either are more open in
yeah,
negotiating, sorry. On the other side, sometimes some people are more a bit shy and they say no. Um, I get both situation. I understand them, but my only topic, only advice that I can give is before you enter your such talks, always have an idea what you want to achieve, what you think you are worth, and sell yourself for this price and tell the
100%.
price so that we can have a base for negotiation. And because otherwise, I have no idea. I mean, I have an idea perhaps, but it might not necessarily be yours. And so we need to find a way in between. And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is getting more and more easier because, in the sense that on the other side, people are knowing this and asking this question beforehand, and it makes sense to ask this because this is the reality.
yeah,
It's I think but salary is not the only part. There are other things that you also can discuss. What about days off? What about vacation? What
mhm,
about other benefits that I have in car, whatsoever, bike, what you want? And those are things that you can mention and should mention if you have this idea and ask. Which is also fine because this shows me on the other side, this person is interested to have this trade with me. So
yeah,
we are talking to each other, the real deal. So basically, so I appreciate those questions. I'm not getting offended at all,
yeah, yeah,
um, and I think they are necessary. That's it.
yeah, 100%. And like I said, I think you kind of answered the next question, which is like, do you feel companies are transparent about salaries? Like you said,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be both people can be a bit quiet. It's like I don't want to say that my salary first, just in case. But I think, like you said already, like transparency is always the best way with that. Um,
I it's lived and lived, and I also live it. The transparency. That's it.
yeah, yeah, perfect. And what do you think the industry could maybe do better when it comes to hiring dynamics consultants? Obviously, you mentioned like one of the big things is a skill shortage. So actually finding these people. Do you think there's anything the industry could do better to, actually hire these candidates to attract talent at all?
Yeah, honestly, it would be it's a bit difficult because yeah, how do I say it depends on which area on where the person wants to enter. So But honestly, I think that in the end, the willingness to train the people is
Yeah,
something that I think is quite important, because what I always, not always, but often see is that people are they are looking for people out there that have that are 20 and have 30 years of knowledge on a specific software. So this
yeah,
is
yeah,
not real. So um, people are I for example, how I deal with it. If I see a certain person and I see this person also presents herself or himself as how do I say, um, as a junior,
yeah,
I on a senior position. I personally do not say no. I basically say, let's see how open-minded this person is, willing to learn. And I can then say, okay, can we invest in this person? And if I get an answer, yes, this is for me a winner. Um, I have come to learn that people that are juniors but willing to learn and invest and are far more successful and faster also in this
hmm,
industry than people that have worked 5, 6, 7, 10 years on a specific area and are perhaps not only, but perhaps close-minded, basically saying I
yeah,
have
yeah.
learned everything and seen everything, and this is not the reality that we are having in this area.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something we all agree with as recruiters. Like you said, there's no such thing as the perfect candidate. So if companies are just
Never.
willing to invest in juniors and people just starting their career, like you said, you can almost it's a clean slate. People will be more open-minded to
Yes.
changes and to your culture as well, which is really good. And you kind of again, you've kind of come onto this when you're obviously working with maybe these juniors and people who are sort of starting out. Do you have a particular leadership style when it comes to motivating these people and sort of inspiring them with their careers?
Yeah, I think that yeah, it's a very difficult situation because you basically need to be you decide at the end. You are the one that needs to decide what you need, what they do and such. That's the one part. On the other side, you also want to you spend a lot of time with those guys. That's
Yeah, yeah,
basic every day. So they are part of your life, so to say. So for me, I deal it like everything. For me, it's important to put a strong emphasis on empathy, to find solutions that work for both and
mhm,
are not from top to bottom, basically
yeah,
saying you have to do this. But I always try to explain why I need this, and to put into the shoes of the person, but also trying to explain, hey, look, this is my situation. And empathy is a very strong topic that
yeah, yeah,
I think makes sense. And transparency is also needed to some degree, because of course there are some situations where you say, okay, before I make them afraid, let me find out what I have, if it's real a deal. But you can always say, okay, look, there is something on the horizon that might be coming. I don't know, but let's keep an eye on it and then let's see. So I'm trying to be as open as I can, but at the same time being
yeah,
empathic
yeah.
as much as I can, right? So that's it.
Perfect. And for these people who are like just maybe joining into like the world of dynamics as consultants or developers, is there any advice which you'd give to someone, who's navigating this market for the first time?
Yeah, I think if you work the first time on Dynamics, two things are very important. The very first one is there are really good courses also from Microsoft courses, sorry,
Yeah,
like the learning path and such, where you can already get some basic knowledge. There is a ton of groups outside where you can join, connect, and get some knowledge. You can create a trial on your own, get into the application. It's not that complicated to get the first steps into them.
yeah,
Get some certificates as possible, and especially, and something I want to share, which makes absolutely sense. Do not limit yourself.
mm,
Let other people say no to you. Do not say no to yourself. This is very important. Something I can give as a general advice. If you do not give other people the chance to find out how you are and who you are, you are basically limiting yourself. And you don't need to sell yourself as rocket engineer. I don't know if you are not one, this is okay. But if you are saying, this particular skill is missing on so, it's okay. Just go into the meeting, tell what you know, and when we talk about weaknesses and such, tell where your weakness is, and that's okay. To
Yeah.
recognize where you have a gap is much more important to think that you don't have none. That's basically it. And to stand to those gaps, that's important.
Yeah, nice. And you mentioned like this, obviously lots of groups and communities you can join to help upskill and learn. Are there any particular like events or communities which you know of, which you think are actually quite beneficial?
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot, honestly, I cannot pinpoint specific ones because there are so many, especially on LinkedIn. There are
Yeah,
many groups where you can join. Um, if you look for Dynamics 365 on LinkedIn and such, you find a ton of groups also from Microsoft side, but not only. And those are normally good ways to get connected with each other, not only for consulting companies and
yeah.
partners of Microsoft, but also with potential hiring people from the industries that wants and that are curious and try to connect also by themselves. So it makes sense to stay connected and to present yourself. And if you really want to go the extra mile and get recognized, also try to perhaps present something and share some knowledge. That's
Yeah.
it.
Nice. So actually engaging the groups as well, rather than just kind of
Exactly.
being in the background was good. And then
Yeah.
we've got some like quick fire questions. So a sort of few
Yeah.
questions which we ask everyone who comes on and that we have a chat with. So the first one is, do you think what is one common misconception you think people have about the dynamics market?
I think that that they underestimate how complex the CRM topic can be. Because
Yeah.
while the technology is not that complicated, the way how you handle data and is highly specific to the customers. So I don't know, a company working on the energy sector is a bit different than someone that is working on the automotive sector.
Yeah.
So you need to, and every company is also different in its own. And especially when it comes to dynamics, you need to change the way how you think. If you have standard software, the people need to adapt their processes to the standard software. While if you go with dynamics, you basically adapt the software to some degree to the needs of the customer. And so you need to have more how do I say, it depends on your role, but basically it makes sense to be able to communicate, to talk to people, to get in touch with those and to say and to ask the right questions. You also are to some extent requirements engineer and basically translating what they need into technical terms. And this is something that the more you know and the more you can put yourself into the shoes of your customer, the better it is. And you need, in this case, to understand this. You're not rolling out a standard software that fits for everyone, because
Yeah.
this is something that the customer can do on their own. If they decide for Dynamics, they want you to adapt the software, configure, customize it to their needs. And this is where you need to be willing to go this extra mile, basically, because this is the foundation of this
Yeah.
software and of our role as consultants in special. You need to anticipate things, to think and to understand, basically doing the business analysis stuff to some degree, requirements engineering in the classical development style, and to provide results. And this everything quickly, fast, and reliable, and always at the technological edge of what the software can do actually.
Nice. And you kind of answered some of those points already, but obviously it's a hugely technical environment.
Yeah.
When you come to hire, what do you think is most important? Technical fit or cultural fit? Like as you said, like that communication is also key. Or could you even
Yeah, I
say
think
one is more important than the other, I suppose?
I think it's very difficult. I think both are important.
Yeah.
In the German market, the German language, okay, this is something we already have discussed. But on the other
Yeah.
side, you need to be technologically and culturally fluid. So you need to adapt and to move forward and to have and You are never having a rest. You are moving all the time. This is the curse and the blessing that we are having on this area, and especially on Dynamics, since the software is changing rapidly, especially with AI.
Yeah,
So you need to adapt and very fast all the time.
nice. And if you could learn a new skill, right, which you think would really help you in your world of career or even personal life, is there anything which comes to mind if you could instantly learn something?
Yeah, I think SAP.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. It's because it's a very huge field. Like if I could
Yeah, it's
learn it
massive.
metric style, that someone loads the software engine into my brain, I could save a lot of time. But those
Mm,
are skills that are highly demanded. CRM, of
yeah,
course, also. Not that I want to say, but SAP is a very large topic. Yeah, absolutely. And it's always good to have both worlds.
yeah,
But it's not that easy. CRM and ERP. And CRM relates to ERP like, I don't know, Stuttgart to Berlin when it comes to the size. So things are
yeah.
very, very complex on the side. But I think that it makes sense. If I would have the possibility to learn something instant, it would be ERP.
Yeah, interesting. And for you, when you've when you're looking for jobs, whether it's been in your past or into your future, what is like a make or break factor for you? What's something that is a non-negotiable when you are looking for a new role?
Honestly, for me, it's the way of the possibility to work remotely, not fully remotely, as I
Mhm.
stated. I think that nothing replaces the having the contact to the team
Yeah,
and to the people, but at least to some degree to work from home. I think it's very important for the reason, also especially for my personal reason, since I have some situations without being too private here.
no,
But where I cannot be for a long time away, and so this is a very important and crucial topic for me. But on the other side, if you earn a specific amount of money, you reach at some point some things where other topics are getting more and more important. You need
yeah,
some base money to live and such, but then other things are very important. Your work-life balance, also the cultural fit. How is your boss related to you in the sense that how is he behaving to you
yeah,
towards you? And this is something very important. I have the luck that I'm good embedded, nice people around me, everything is
yeah, yeah.
fine, and this is something that is also very important for me.
Good.
So it's a mixed bag, so to say.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's good from my side, at least I can see. I think there's obviously a lot of like return to work going on, a lot of companies inviting people back into the office. From what I can
Yeah.
see in Dynamics, it still seems to be much more remote working, which is quite nice to see, I think. I mean, there are definitely companies who are going back to a in-office structure. I don't know if you found that yourself, if it's still remaining more remote in that type of space.
I think that's also something. Um, it's normal for the simple reason that if you especially when you invite consultants into your company, you need to do the security clearance and such, and then they need to have a badge, and then you have you need the possibilities for them to work and such. If they work remotely, it's not your problem anymore. Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
security is important, but they can log in via VPN or whatsoever, work,
Mhm.
and then close, and they are gone. That's basically it. And for this, you don't need extra facilities by any means. So this is not needed. But if you have the possibility of having a meeting room and get in touch, that's okay. But most of the time, stay at home, everything is fine. Honestly, this is something that I heard from some companies that it's okay, stay, you don't need to come. It's good.
Yeah,
And it's not something I take personal at some point where I say, okay, it's good, thank you. But sometimes there is the need where you need to meet and that's okay, also good.
yeah, yeah. Nice. And last question is, what would you say is the best piece of advice you've received that's kind of related to your career, that's kind of helped you massively through, all your dynamics and development experience?
I think again, as I stated before, I think the most important part is be open-minded, and I know I repeat myself a lot, but
No,
that's
no, it's
something you need to know, and also let other people say no to you. Let me find out who you are. That's the
yeah,
point. I have honestly, at some point in the past, someone said to me, if you have never dared to present yourself, we would have missed a talent. And I think that's the part where it made click in my brain. It was pure coincidence that I was there at some point. It
Yeah.
could have been different, and if I would have not believed in myself at a certain point, I would never had the possibility to be where I am, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's a very important topic, a very important lesson that I learned, and I think that accompanies me since then. And this is something that I share with my daughter and with a lot of other people. Let me find out who you are. If you limit yourself, you are basically not allowing me to find who you are. And
Yeah.
perhaps this could be the one thing that can change your life. But I will
Yeah.
never know about you if you are not presenting.
Yeah. Almost throwing yourself into it as well. So, yeah, but that covers everything. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time.